at like 10:30 and 3:30. There's no real lunches, so
Yeah. I am amazed at the stuff that you have to go through. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. But we
right now, so.
Well, you know how we've talked over the past 10 years or so about cycling and all those different issues. I wonder, when we talked the last time, I was wondering just what you plan on doing about improving mobility in the city.
Well, you know what? I sat down with Minnan-Wong. As you know, the last council meeting, we put in more bike lanes than the previous administration did, and we've had to take out a couple, but we put in more. So there's only so much we can do at any given time, and I think we're doing a lot. I would, if I were you, I'd definitely sit down with Minnan-Wong. He's the one who's in charge of obviously cycling and the transportation in the city.
Right.
And take it from there. That's he's the one, and he's the one who chairs the committee.
Yeah, but I also know that what's been going on, the taking out of the bike lanes. I don't really understand what the point of taking the Jarvis Street bike lanes is.
Strictly numbers. It was just strictly a numbers, overwhelming. Like some people don't like bike lanes. Other people, don't mind them. They can live with them. But the Jarvis bike lane, they literally thousands of calls.
Right.
And people were irate with these bike lanes. And then they started going on to Denzel. And it was just, you saw the vote at the end of the day. It was like, people understood. Like, they don't want them on Jarvis. They can take them somewhere else. They wanted that fifth lane back. People is one of the only few streets that actually flows. And people were, the traffic was getting congested.
Well, I've been talking to the traffic planners at the city all week. And because of the way that this is going to be reconfigured, I hate to use the word restored for this Jarvis Street thing, this 1950s design, it's going to mean there's going to be 5 motor vehicle lanes that are of 3-meter width each. Right?
Yeah, again, all the final drawings, I haven't seen that.
The thing is that council has instructed staff to go back and restore it to what it was. You're virtually rescinding the changes that were made in 2009, right?
Yeah, the problem was in 2009, when you go back, staff didn't even recommend these bike lanes. That's what I guess irritated everybody. If things met the warrants and staff recommended it,
yeah,
then council would have break. Staff said no. Staff said don't put the bike lanes in, and David Miller said no.
Yeah, because they wanted to improve they said they wanted to improve the pedestrian realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was on the pedestrian committee. I was one of the founders of it, and I was there for 7 years, longer than anybody else has ever been there. And I know, and I came and I deputed about this, that the best way to fix the pedestrian realm was to get the damn cyclists off the sidewalks. It's what we heard about the whole 7 years I was there.
Right.
And by putting the bike lanes in, we can do that. Now, here's the problem that's going to come up, and it's going to be something that people aren't expecting. When you try to put those 5 motor vehicle lanes back, they're going to say the city's going to have to come up with a way for cyclists to use that street. And what it means is they're going to have to put sharrows in on the 2 curb lanes of the 5 you've got. So you're only going to have 3 unencumbered motor vehicle lanes, and you got 4 now with the bike lanes.
Yeah, I haven't seen the final. I can't comment on because I haven't seen the final.
Well, figure it. I know, Rob, from riding as a bike courier, right? Like from 25 years, I was a messenger, right, on foot and on bike. So I know both sides of that part of it. Riding on Jarvis Street with the 5 motor vehicle lanes, there is no way that cars can pass cyclists. So the city will be telling people to take the whole lane. So you're going to have mothers and kids that are used to that route now, out on, going to school and doing all this, out in the middle of the lane, taking the whole lane up. It's not going to help motorists at all.
Yeah,
it's going to make it worse. It's going to take you from 4 lanes that accommodate motor vehicles without bikes in the way to 3 lanes. And one of them will alternate. And that's such a dumb idea. The traffic, the planners say there's no way they would ever recommend that in this day and age.
Well, that's what I'm saying about why wouldn't these traffic engineers recommend putting in the bike lanes 2 years ago? I can't
because they were trying to change the look of Jarvis Street. That was the original intent of the pedestrian improvements.
Yeah, I don't think it was very good planning. Whoever had that file, I really think screwed it up.
Right. But here's the thing. We now have a strip along Jarvis Street that is safer for citizens to use, for all citizens to use. If we actually take that out, it's not the same as being derelict as putting something in. Now we're going to make the streets less safe, and we're doing it purposefully. The courts will have a field day if anybody's injured, because the city is making the streets less safe, and we know it because staff has said that in all the reports we've got, all the literature we've got for the last 30 years. We're supposed to be, like 30 years ago I got into this because we had too many cars on the road. It hasn't gotten better. That was the whole reason all the biking and the cycling stuff got some traction, because it was looked at as a way to get some of the cars off the roads.
Right.
Now, what I wanted to talk to you about originally, and what I talked to you about, 10 years ago when we first met, I invited you to come out. I invited all the councillors to come out, and I'd show them how the city works in the downtown core, how we move, right? And how much active transportation of moving goods by bike couriers and foot couriers with dollies and stuff like that, we can get rid of most of the trucks that are in the way, at least during the day. The big loads still have to come in by truck, but all this stuff, the small freight loads and the documents, can be done with people on foot and on bicycle and tricycle. And other places in the world do.
Sorry, Wayne.
Yeah.
Our biggest problem is the FedEx and UPSs. They're driving us absolutely crazy because they're saying they can't. They've got to come in. They've got to deliver the parcels. We need the big trucks down here. And I'm thinking, oh, man, it's the courier companies that are killing us.
Well, then why don't we deal with them? This would be the best thing you could possibly do. You're really on the line as far as transportation, right? You've taken away the motor vehicle registration fee, and that really doesn't help anybody move around any better. It's good for you.
Puts more money in people's pockets.
But it takes money out of my pocket because I've never driven a car. I've lived in this city for 60 years. I've never driven a car, but I'm a homeowner. So I pay for the roads and all that stuff. Now I'm paying more for people that use the less sustainable, less congestion-friendly vehicles. This whole idea of one-size-fits-all vehicles and using it for every job and journey in urban centers is ridiculous. We don't have room.
I hear you, but you should hear you got to hear what these guys are saying. I know you're not going to like this.
Yeah.
But it's happening. I'm not going to say it's happening now.
Yeah.
It's eventually going to happen that cyclists are going to be licensed in the city.
Yeah, but you see, that's not a problem for me. I know it is for a lot of people, but I've suggested licensing to clean up the courier industry.
Just say, Rob, maybe it's only going to be a minimum charge. Maybe it's only going to be $20 or $30.
Yeah.
You know what? It's going to happen, and that's going to be, people are going to be, riding, but it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, again, that's not such a negative for me. I would rather see it cleaned up. My whole thing with cycling and walking, for that matter, I want them recognized as viable forms of transportation. And people, when they've got short distances to go in the city, they can walk. When they've got medium distances, they can ride. When they've got long distances or they've got to carry big loads, they can use motor vehicles. We should be using the appropriate vehicle for the appropriate job or journey, and not constantly looking at this one-size-fits-all motor vehicle application, because it doesn't work. And if we can bring people to understand that and get everybody to share that burden, right, the city could work a lot better. My big peeve, the same as yours, is the courier companies. But the city has been complicit with the courier companies, the major courier companies, and allowed them to use an illegal service model by allowing them to park everywhere. If the courier companies had to pay the fines for their illegal parking, they'd find a better way to do their job. I know they would. They'd have to.
Right.
Right? So that's what we could do. That's what you could do. You could, they don't have to be attacked. They just have to be, we just have to say they have to meet their civic responsibilities if they want to operate in this city. And they've got to find a better way to do that small package, document style delivery, not clogging the streets with trucks unnecessarily. You know why they're so big, those trucks?
No, I don't.
Because, well, there's a couple of reasons. The courier companies love it because it's a rolling billboard, right? Their name is in front of the public constantly. The other thing is that the unions demanded that the trucks be big enough that the workers can walk around in the back of them. So you've got these huge step vans illegally parked all over the city, clogging the interior lanes of all of our streets in downtown Toronto for no reason. And they're not paying any taxes because they're virtually rolling offices that they've got out there. And they're allowed to do this because the city wasn't charging them the cost of the tickets that they were given. We had people out there ticketing these things for the last 10 years, and they've been allowed to just go in on a monthly basis and get rid of the fines. So the city has been complicit and tacitly encouraging an illegal service model that's been blocking the streets.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware of that.
Okay, you see now you see why I stick with this? Because we can fix this. We've talked on a number of occasions. You know, when you've stuck your foot in your mouth in the past, and I call you up, I'm not berating you. I'm asking why and how we can work on this so that we can come to an agreement and make it better for everybody.
Right. No, I've always respected you. Absolutely, you're very knowledgeable. So, I think you should sit down with Denzel Minnan-Wong.
Okay.
And give him a shout and say, here, you want to meet, and take it from there, because he's the one that can't. I've got committee, chairs that.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though, Rob. I know a lot of people know that Sonny was going around to all the committee members after John Parker brought in that late amendment on Jarvis, and then while they were waiting for the vote, Sonny on the DVD that the city records this thing, he goes around and talks to all the members that vote for Parker's amendment, and it's on the video. So your office is tied right to that.
I wasn't aware that Sonny was doing that. He was lobbying the vote.
Yeah. Well, I don't know you know what? I don't know. I just buy a copy of the DVD each time and I watch what goes on.
I'm really surprised on that. And if that's the case, I'll be infuriated, but because that's not how we work.
Well, I tell you what. Take a look at the video and see if it's Sonny. It's right near the end of that Public Works Committee meeting, right?
Sonny's a really quiet guy. He doesn't say anything.
Yeah, he called me up in the last month and tried to explain to me stuff about cycling in the city. It was quite humorous. And I understand what he's talking about, but I know this stuff as well as anybody, and nobody comes to us. Nobody comes to us to ask how we make this stuff move. I spent 25 years moving freight in this city, and I've never applied for a driver's license. And I've done hundreds of thousands of kilometers of deliveries. How do I do it? It's real simple. We had a 100-year tradition in this city, an industry that did just that. And we've killed it in the last, during Mayor Miller's reign, and the tail end of, and I mean, it's the perfect thing for you to use because it doesn't stop citizens from getting around the city in their cars if they want to. But it's a start saying that the city wants to move away from it. And if we change the way we move our goods, people don't care how their goods get there as long as they get there in one piece. And that's it. I know, right? But if we could do it in a more active transportation, more sustainable, safer manner in the downtown core to start, it shows we're doing something. It shows we understand the problem, but it doesn't interfere with the way your folks and the folks that your style appeals to get around.
You make sense. No, for sure.
You know, now it's going to take it's going to have to change eventually. I think we're going to see smaller cars, slower cars for urban applications, right?
Right.
Right. But we have, because it doesn't work any other way. The cyclists aren't responsible for the gridlock on the 401, right?
No, you're right. No, you're dead on. Anyways, what you should do, call Denzel, take it from there, and let me know if things work out, okay?
I will, Rob.
Okay.
And really, thanks for taking the time to talk to me about this, and thanks for all the stuff you got to put up with to do the job you're trying to do.
No problem at all. No problem. Call me anytime.
Okay, man.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.